Fréwaka. 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 Fuck. Hi, I'm Emerald, and today I want to talk about a movie the title of which I have no idea how to pronounce, also known as...
Fréwaka?
I think? Fréwaka? Fréwaka. There you go, I think I got it right that time. I saw this movie a couple weeks back at its New England's premiere, and since it'll have its streaming premiere on Shudder this Friday, I wanted to give a rundown of my thoughts on it. I've never posted any kind of my reviews as videos before, so this will kind of be an experiment, and since there weren't too many video reviews of it, despite the sheer number of film festivals it played at, I thought, why not? Fréwaka is a movie about Shu, a caregiver who is tasked with taking care of an elderly woman named Peg, whose agoraphobia and distrust of Shu begins to make Shu wonder whether her ramblings are actually real. In terms of plot details, that's about all that you should really be aware of. I'd heavily, and I mean heavily, advise against watching the trailer, as it spoils major parts of the movie, including, among other things, one very, very important and relevant phrase, and for some reason the final shot, that's spoiled in the trailer? What the f***? Why would you do that? I mean, I would recommend going into most movies blind, but this is definitely one witch's trailer you should avoid. Witches? Movies aren't people. I don't know why I said that. The director, Ashland Clark, talked about the meaning of the film's title, which I would say is relevant.
And it means roots, but the word has this texture that is heavier. It feels like tangled roots, thick, heavy roots, roots that are hard to pull up from the ground, whereas the English word roots is much plainer, much simpler. And I think that word doesn't have the same weight as the word in Irish.
Yes, this is yet another movie about generational trauma. Oh, joy. At the festival I saw the movie at, it was prided as being the first ever Irish language horror film, which isn't exactly true. That title belongs to... or The Ghost, the dialogue of which is told entirely in Gaelic, whereas Fréwaka alternates between Gaelic and English, but that's not a detriment. The movie's still very unapologetically Irish, and I really respect it for that. So, I should probably do the actual review part of the video, right? I'll say it up front, I was very disappointed in Fréwaka, but I don't want this entire review to just be me trashing on it, so I'll start with the positives before transitioning into my problems with the film. And hey, my opinion isn't a word of God or anything. Maybe you'll disagree with me and think I'm just some dumb NBT who doesn't know jack shit. I can't read your minds. Anyways, the positives. Right off the bat, the cinematography and acting of Fréwaka will catch your eye, especially from Claire Monolly, who portrays Shu. Despite the fact that the movie is mostly set inside of a single house, the moments when Shu ventures out into nearby town and the countryside have some of the most beautiful visuals I've seen in a while. One particular shot, which is by far one of the most striking images in the movie, is a burning cross being reflected inside a character's eyeball. And fortunately, the movie knows how good this visual is because it keeps popping up throughout the movie. But I'm not complaining, because it really does look phenomenal. One of the things that Fréwaka manages to do, which a lot of other horror films don't manage to accomplish, is, aside from a general sense of dread, a sense of true uncertainty. Throughout the entirety of Fréwaka, I had absolutely no idea where all the plot points were going to go, and while I'll talk about plot points more in the negative part of the review, this uncertainty mixed with the uneasiness of the overall vibes really made the experience of watching this film enjoyable. There's a 5 to 10 minute sequence around the point where the third act begins that begins to tie in several plot lines, and I think this is by far the best sequence of the movie, and genuinely one of the most unnerving sequences out of the 80 plus movies I've seen this year. Very reminiscent of the Smile movies, while also simultaneously being on a larger scale and also on a smaller one. It's confusing, I can't really explain it without spoiling the movie, but I honestly recommend turning it off after the sequence ends, because not only does nothing past it live up to it, but it all kinda goes down from there. The negatives. So, despite the fact that I quite enjoyed many parts of Fréwaka, I don't think I've been subtle about the fact that I do not think it works at all. Fréwaka is a movie that doesn't progress. It has a beginning, it has an end, and then there's a perfectly flat line between the two that lasts an hour and 43 minutes, being about 30 minutes too long and about 2 hours too slow. The reason why that sequence I mentioned earlier stands out is because that's the only moment in the entire movie where some kind of progression is shown. There's a clear escalation in that sequence as it builds upon everything the movie has done up to that point and clearly builds up to something, but the sequence ends before it reaches that conclusion and the movie never attempts to end the tension in a satisfying way. This goes for all the scenes of scares or attempted scares. The movie takes a lot from Irish folklore, but these implications and references never help drive the story forward because nothing ever goes anywhere. There are elements of folklore but no clear connection to any plot points because those plot points aren't ever resolved, and many concepts the movie introduces don't even get brought up again. On a technical side of negatives, most of the audience members I overheard talking after the screening agreed with me. The sound mixing on the movie was disturbing, to say the least. The music, which, by the way, I would go off on a tangent if I could, but I don't want to, but there wasn't any variety in the music aside from one track that played at the beginning, and the only other track kept repeating in every single motherfucking scene, and it was so goddamn loud that it peaked the audio levels of the film. I just went on a tangent, didn't I? Crap. Anyways, the dialogue was always mixed super quietly, while the mixing of the music broke my theater's audio system, so do with that information as you will. I doubt they'll replace the horrendous soundtrack before the Shudder release, but I'm hoping they'll at least fix the audio mixing. Fréwaka is an interesting movie, but ultimately a terribly disappointing one. I was really excited to see it, but the overall disjointed story, lack of cohesion, and sense of, what the fuck, that was it, made Fréwaka fail on nearly all fronts for me. If I had to rate it, I'd give it a 3 or 4 out of 10 or 1.5 out of 5, but then again, see it for yourself. It's still an independent film, and even if I can't recommend it, support for indie cinema is always needed. Plus, your opinion on the movie might be entirely different from mine. Anyways, ciao for now. I don't know if this worked, but I'm really hoping that at least somebody will find this helpful. Maybe not, I don't know. Bye! If anybody's still watching this, or, if anybody's watching this at all, thank you. This entire thing has been an experiment, and I still haven't decided whether I liked it or not. Making this was fun. Let me know if you want to hear me talk about more random crap if you want to hear the opinion of a random-ass non-binary teenager who has absolutely no idea how to make videos. Or don't, that's also fine. Bye for real now, I guess. Bye. I already said that, but yeah.